Hello, I'm Evan Montgomery, and I'm presenting on the 16 Factors of Personality Theory by Raymond Cattell. So, a little bit of background. Raymond Cattell, his undergraduate degree was a chemistry degree, but he was also a psychologist. So his goal was to find a chemistry analysis of personality in psychology. He lived from 1905 to 1998 and published this study in 1950. So, background on the subject, Allport in 1937 came up with 17,953 adjectives to describe personality. He eventually cut this down to 4,000 plus, but Raymond Cattell was not satisfied with over 4,000 different words to describe it, so he cut it down to 170 logically different adjectives. So the way he did this was people rated themselves for each of the 170 characteristics that they thought they possessed, and then he used factor analysis to find the correlating traits. He used techniques developed by his fellow psychologist Charles Spearman, who he had worked with before, and factor analysis was a lot more difficult before computers, so this was a pretty huge task. So he eventually brought this down to 16 basic trait dimensions, different factors, and he rated them on a continuum. So each of the different factors has a score, and you can be either low in that area or high in that area. So Cattell spent many years researching personality and this theory of the 16 different traits. And in 1973, 23 years after he released the initial study, he came up with the 16 personality factor questionnaire. It had 200 questions on it, like, I like to go to parties, and you would either answer yes, occasionally, or no. And after all of these 200 questions, you would have a graph that would look something like over here on the right, possibly. That's one way to analyze it. So there are a few pros and cons of this type of theory, or this type of test, rather. It's, for one, it's very detailed. 16 probably tells you a lot about yourself. On the other hand, it is quite a lot, unlike the 5-factor test that we already talked about. Back on the pro side, it is a spectrum, unlike something like the Myers-Briggs personality test that will tell you you are introverted, or you are extroverted, or you are a feeling person over a thinking person. You can be, for example, a somewhat warm or nice person on the 16-factor test. However, 200 questions is quite a lot to come up with 16 personality factors for yourself. So in conclusion, many psychologists still favor the 5-factor model, and the Myers-Briggs test is also another personality test that is quite popular. Fisk, the author of the 5-factor model, actually reanalyzed the data of what Cattell did for his 16-factor, came up with 5-factor. However, the 16-factor test is still used today, both for assessing personality traits in psychotherapy and also as a research tool for the study.